What is going on, guys? Welcome to Comic News Weekly. That's right, the only show where we can talk about variants and not mean Delta, but we are talking about comic news of the week. We have some great topics to discuss tonight. And I want to thank everyone that's coming to the live chat right now. Live. This is available on the audio podcast as well. Just check out Some Events Comics wherever your podcasts are found. But let's get into it. Let's bring the panelists in right now, starting with Tales from the Flip Side YouTube. Brian McClay, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, brother? I just got literally a second ago a text from Drew from Wanna Comics to tell you, go Dodgers.
I wanted to say that, that lead is getting very narrow. I am nervous, but as of right now, the Giants are up on the Mets 7-0. So a little excited for that. But yeah,
card crazy, sports card craziness continues.
Yes. Yeah, but yeah, Dodgers got me nervous. But let's bring in the next one from Dank Comics. We got Mr. Dan himself on Dank Comics YouTube channel. What's up, buddy?
What up? Good to see you. Good to be here. Let's talk about some news.
Yeah, dude, you look stronger after helping a friend move last week. We missed you.
Yeah. Stronger. Yeah.
The return.
Over the soreness. Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into the first topic right now. I'm just kidding. We got to bring in El Beardo Jefe himself. Mr. Comic Man Andy, what's going on, buddy?
What is good, everybody? It is Tuesday. Dare I say it's Newsday?
Yes.
I'm excited. I hope you guys are too.
DC Comic Release Day or New Comic Day Eve for Diamond. I guess say DC New Comic Book Day for Scout as well. Lunar distribution. But Andy Tomlin, he can't make it tonight. He is feeling a little bit under the weather. Tony, I'm sure he'll pop in as soon as he gets his SpaghettiO fix going on. You know, he likes to eat because we change up the time of this show every week. You know, it's hard for him to figure out when it's going to start, but he'll be here soon, I'm sure.
SpaghettiOs.
Yeah. How's everyone's week going, man? It's been a busy week, and it's only Tuesday.
Yeah, it's been a rough one so far.
Yeah, we're just talking about everyone tired. Mitch Joel's in the chat. Always welcome him. It's great to see him in here. Other people roll into the chat right now. But we have some news. There was some. It's funny because just within the day, like the news cycle is always changing and just kind of moving stuff around. One of the topics we're going to discuss later. We have some more information to add to that, and there was a lot of comic book movie news, but it was kind of light on the actual comic book news itself. It's just talking about comics. But the first one I want to talk about, we hit the premiere of the 11th and final season of that regular Walking Dead show. And my question is also, how many people watched it? Right? I did watch it. I got back on the Walking Dead train when the Whisper War, that season was phenomenal. I was like, wow, Walking Dead is back again. And then the COVID, I call it the COVID episodes because they did like the single character episodes, character building, spotlighting one or two characters. And that kind of dragged it down in between production of the start of this new season. And we find out that zombies actually nap. That's right. They got to break into a building and the zombies are napping. And they steal some MREs. So it wasn't the best premiere episode. I do like the spinoffs. I do like the resurgence of Walking Dead from a franchise point of view right now. The Walking Dead Deluxe reprints, Skybound X. We got Clementine. We have Rick Grimes. You know, there. So I love the Walking Dead franchise, but this premiere of season 11 of the show came out this past Sunday, and it kind of left me. I wasn't impressed. I don't hear that water cooler talk that we used to hear seasons ago, but I'm just curious. I'm even curious if any of you guys watched it, because if this was 5 years ago, we would all be talking about, dude, no spoilers, and everyone's like, oh, it's back.
Yeah, I'll be honest. This is going to drive people crazy, and it drives my friends crazy that are super into the show still to this day. I never got into Walking Dead, the TV show. Never. The comic really. I remember when the comic first came out and they're like, oh, it's a zombie comic. I'm like, screw zombies. I don't want to deal with
it's
zombies.
Black and white, bro.
Yeah, it's black and white, bro. I'm like, Battle Pope is so much better. But I will say the only people that did call me and be like, "Hey, Walking Dead was actually good." It seemed like the people that really got caught up just on the TV show alone, not the comic. You know what I mean? That's my point of view.
Yeah, and it's funny because my wife brought up a good discussion there. Is I'd been watching it, but we actually got her to watch it when it was on Netflix, and it was a hurricane party type thing when the birth of my first son was young. So we all pulled the mattress down we're hunkering down into the living room watching Netflix till the power went out, and just sat there and binged Walking Dead. And she started getting to the show, and then I bought her the compendiums, and then I was like, hey, if you watch the show, the books are so much better. The show's great, but she read the compendiums and then lost interest in the show. So,
Yep.
Yeah, and I do like Fear the Walking Dead, and it's funny because when Fear the Walking Dead to me dipped, the regular Walking Dead show was back at it. And like I said, the Whisper War stuff, some of the best Walking Dead episodes ever. It was like back to like the first 3 seasons again. But what about you, Dan?
Well, you know, for a season, for a show to finale or whatever, you really want to nail the landing, because then the rewatch value will be tremendous, right? Because if they mess up the ending, you don't want to rewatch the series. You never, you know, it's so important. And Angela King, who became showrunner, I think 2 seasons ago or a season ago or something, she was there from the beginning. So it was sort of like when they got an in-house showrunner, because I think previously they got showrunners from other shows. So that might be why it has that feeling again.
Greg Nicotero,
yeah.
I mean, he's doing a bunch of stuff. He's doing the Creep Show stuff on Shudder now. I mean, he did a bunch of stuff before Walking Dead, but
Yeah.
his effects for zombies and stuff like that is absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, season premiere, final season, and of course it left at what looks to be like a cliffhanger because we know Maggie and Negan just hate each other, and it looks like Negan was leaving Maggie to spoiler alert at the demise of zombies. In case you didn't know, there's zombies in there. But what about you, Andy?
Dude, it's no surprise. It's no surprise that you haven't heard any cooler talk, because the bulk
no
of
one's
the
around
world,
a cooler. It's all on Zoom.
The bulk of the world thought this show already ended. Like, nobody really paid attention to this. And I'm a massive Walking Dead comic fan. I missed reading that issue to issue on the original release, so I'm reliving that whole series issue to issue on the Walking Dead Deluxe release. I did collect the single issues as I could, and I was a big fan of it. So we were pumped when the show came out, right? Well, they kind of turned me sour to Walking Dead when, what was it, season 2, season 3, when they let go of Frank Drenabot, I think it was. Dank, you might remember this a little bit better if I've got the names wrong. Or
The showrunner?
Yeah.
Oh, Darabont?
Darabont. They let him go. I don't know. I can't remember if they fired him or they asked him to leave or whatever.
Yeah, they kind of fired him, yeah.
Yeah. That show, like, leading up to that, I felt like was doing really well. Next season after that, the special effects went downhill. And you know, Brian, as well as any other military veteran out there, if you put somebody on a TV show with a pistol, that pistol, they fire around and the pistol doesn't do anything, and there's just a little flash at the end. I'm like, you're talking about the biggest TV show that's supposed to be on right now, capturing audiences for one of the greatest comic books ever, and they cut and they made it look cheap and they made it look terrible. So I floated in, I floated out. It got a little bit better, but Gimple, I felt like, ruined the show. Gimple, for us, ruined the show. We went back to the comic book. So as far as I'm concerned, we watched up to a certain point, I think like season 8 and season maybe a little bit of 9. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of funny. You guys are talking about a hurricane party, and then when your son was born, my wife went into active labor the night we were watching Walking Dead on a Sunday, and I think that was probably the last episode we ever watched it. That was 4.5 years ago. I don't know. I'm excited that it's coming to an end, simply because I feel like maybe we'll see a dip in issue 1 that I might be able to buy back into, so we can get our issue 1 back.
I just saw someone, I forget, I think it was on Facebook, selling a 9.9 slab. But I enjoyed the show, and everyone was super. I mean, the height of anticipation was it season 6 premiere, right? That's when the Negan, the issue 100 was going to play out with Lucille and Glenn, basically, right? But then it kind of like cliffhangered there, picked up cliffhangered when Negan had them all kneeling, getting to the next season, and then picked up in the Saviors. Those episodes were pretty bad. And getting back to what you're talking about, when you're a veteran of the military, they didn't know how to film firefight scenes for shit. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But it's like it was like watching a GI Joe episode, man. No one's getting hit.
It was like seasons like 6, 7, and 8 or something like that. That chunk right in there just seems so repetitive and so not just. I'm talking about the biggest show out at the time, and millions of people were tuning in to watch it.
It was beating out Sunday Night Football for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember being at work, and even the people that I never thought would be into a show like that are literally standing around the water cooler talking about it.
Yeah. It's still not better than Sam and Dean Winchester Supernatural, but I'm kidding. But Walking Dead as a franchise in general, there's endless legs on that, because we're seeing more shows. I haven't watched the newer spinoff show. I've watched Fear the Walking Dead. There's talk of movies. We've seen the revamp of the Walking Dead Deluxe. People are loving those. Skybound X, and the merchandise itself that stands behind it. I mean, the Walking Dead expos and the action figures. So it's not going anywhere. But I do like the franchise, but I'm ready for this standalone show to end. Like Mitch said, he agreed with you. He thought it ended a couple seasons ago. Yeah. But on that same breath, just today, sticking with Skybound and another comic book, Oblivion Song, which when the first issue came out, everyone knew it was coming. But now we got Oblivion Song. It's tied to Jake Gyllenhaal is going to produce and star in the film based on the graphic novel by Robert Kirkman. Andy's got the little collector's edition with the action figure behind him. A lot of people were going after those at the time. I remember the trade paperback. There was a trade paperback that was released before the first issue, I believe, that was super sought after.
The advanced reader copy, right?
Yep. So, yeah. What do you guys think about Oblivion Song?
Robert Kirkman just keeps on winning at life. Shout out to Big Clutch, right? Skybound crew.
Big Clutch, Arun, Robert Kirkman, all those guys over there at Skybound. Definitely got a machine going on there. I will. We talked about this pre-show. I'm not too psyched about it. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I watch it, but Oblivion Song, not my favorite comic book series. To me, it was a meh.
I think that started a whole new ball game of secret variants. Like,
oh yeah, we were talking about that too. The pink signatures, and
yeah, that was like a whole new ball game in comics. And when everybody found out, hey, there's like a secret variant. It was,
issue 4.
Yeah,
that secret frog. I think it was 4.
So I love stuff like that. I think that they knew that they were the hot indie. They had the hot hand at that point. Anything they did over there was good at that point. Speaking of Walking Dead and stuff like that, so I think it's cool. I'll be very interested to see. I wonder, and maybe Dan could talk about this. Like, how do you think these types of projects get into Jake Gyllenhaal's mind sphere? Is he into like comics, or do you think that more than likely somebody just hands him a script and go, this is probably a good idea?
He is in the comics. He's even been in like Midtown a bunch of times, right? And not just to research Spider-Man, but he is a fan of comics. I've seen that over to multiple mediums. But yeah, and it's crazy. To me, if you would have said Oblivion Song, I would have been like, yeah, whatever. But Jake Gyllenhaal, that makes me more excited to actually watch it.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal. I met him a bunch of times when I worked in Tribeca. He's an interesting guy, but he's
say about that.
I don't know. His sister's around too, and they're very different. They're not the same. So, but it shows what Kirkman can do in the Super Creator and how they can build empires actually, and that's actually what's kind of the most incredible thing about all of this. And it might not be that he read the comic. It could be that everyone's like, oh, Kirkman from Walking Dead and Invincible. I mean, it's such a brand beyond or whatever, and it really shows that we don't at least for creators, like they can go it alone and not rely on these major companies to
I just want to,
thrive. Yeah.
I just want to tell Brian now. I think it's really, really irresponsible of him, considering he had Sean Kirkham on Tales from the Flip Side like a week ago, and you should have asked these questions.
Didn't break the news. Trust me, we tried. We tried. I think there was a couple questions about, what was the next thing to pop, and he had to stay quiet. But
Yeah.
I will say this: Big Clutch is a character, man. He is a cool cat, and if there was anybody that was probably going to be like just a heads up, maybe it'd be him. So I'm not mad that we didn't take our shot.
Yeah, kudos to him to keep it close to the vest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
When
we
he
don't
was
want
on
any.
my channel, we tried to do the same thing, and even after filming it was like, hey, and he's like, nah.
We don't want an insider specking scandal, in the community.
Yeah, I know, right? But
Especially when you're selling books, right?
it would be a disservice to us to not ask.
Yeah, nice.
like-
What a friend.
But I'm not saying that he should have told us, but you don't let stuff go without, hey, while I have you here.
Yeah.
You got anything? No? Okay. Well, I had to ask type thing. But yeah, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. What do you guys think about Oblivion Song? It's definitely moving on eBay, but at the same time, it's those people buying it on eBay now. It's way infinity late because this was kind of known it was coming since release.
Yeah, you could CGC 9.8 graded copies could be had for $40 or $50 in 19 and 20. I don't recall the exact time span, but that's when I bought my copies. And like pink signature variants, it's mine for like $34, $35, $40, like cheap. Asking prices now are $200 for a cover A and a 9.8. Be sure to dig through those bins and look for these copies because I know some people ordered heavily and I know they forgot where their copies are at in their LCSs. So look for those. And don't forget to look for, if you guys are going to collect this, anybody watching, look for those first appearances of Heather, Edward, Cole, Duncan, Director Ward, Bridget. I feel like this has a really good chance of being a phenomenal popcorn sci-fi movie out there. I don't see this being a vast, grand universe where they do multiple spin-offs and shows or multiple movies, but I think this is going to be a really good one-and-done sci-fi movie, and I don't want to miss this. I'm a big sci-fi fan, so when they dropped Oblivion Song, I was pumped and made sure that I got everything that I could right up front and was ordering it right off the shelf. And I've enjoyed it. There was a little bit of a lull. I'm sad to see it ending at 36, and we're 33 is dropping this week or next week, I think. So we're almost done.
This
But
week.
I can't wait to see how they end it.
Yeah, this was a book that, I mean, it rose and then dropped and then rose again. We've seen different spikes. It kind of went through that cycle quite a few times. I know when Jack was on here, Jack and I mentioned it in the top 10 overlooked or undervalued type books when it was back at a low again. But it's not at a low now and people are aware of it.
Yep, the foil variant of #1 now. My understanding is Skeff's Comic Knowledge messaged me earlier today, and he said the cheapest one he found online was like $1,100 in a 9.8 now.
Yeah, that's about $1,000 too much for me.
Is there I think the $1,000 threshold right now is happening on so many crazy books, and the $1,000 threshold to me has become my like register like sound, like cha-ching, like as soon as it hits 1,000, put that sucker up.
Yeah.
Sell it. I mean, sell it before if you can, but man, now don't miss your point. That's just my opinion. A lot of these books are reaching these $1,000 thresholds pretty damn quick these days.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're not wrong.
Yeah. But Beardo, speaking of comics, we just had the top 200 for July sales chart come out, right? For Diamond?
Ooh, that just dropped. Yeah, top 200 comics and graphic novels ordered through Diamond in July. And I am extremely excited to share with everybody tonight that our brothers, our family members, where are they at? Canto 3 Lionhearted #1 from Drew and David M. Boer hit the list at 140. I'm going to go right to that because that was epic to see. And right at the top of the list, I wasn't surprised by X-Men #1, but Moon Knight #1 I enjoyed quite a bit, and that hit #2.
I wasn't surprised. I was just confused because when they say X-Men #1, I'm like, which one? Because isn't there like 50 different X-Men #1s or series? Just kidding.
Yeah, Extreme Carnage Alpha #1 hit #3, Sinister War #1 at #4. I was kind of surprised to see Mother of Madness make it to #5 because I had heard that actually the
book sucked.
Yeah,
problems with it, issues with it coming out.
Skybound X only made it to #6, which I thought would be a little bit higher. Star Wars Bounty Hunters #2 had a respected #7 spot.
It's funny. I just want to take a step back because this there when say Skybound X, we figured it would be better. We're talking about Image, right? But we're still talking about small press independent books coming in at #5 on Diamond distribution. Now this is Diamond. It doesn't include, like we said, DC Comics, of course, or Scout Comics, but there's a lot of those independent small press that were up there. Berserker #4 was up there, right? And then, like you said, with Kanto hitting 140, it actually beat out Eternals #1 that Marvel relaunched.
It did.
And then you had Nottingham #5 coming in at 166. So it warms my heart to see some of those independent, smaller on that top 200. And what does it say about comics in general when you have a top 200 and there's probably books that didn't make it, but how many books are getting released a month?
Yeah.
When you have a top 200 and one of the biggest publishers in comics is not there.
There it is, YouTubers. No more top 10s. We want to see this top 200 videos of comics that are selling really, really, really well now.
Yeah. It's the new meta, bro. The lists have gone bye-bye.
We want to see and do each pick as a story, like 200 stories a day.
At first when I saw it and it was all Amazing Spider-Man and Star Wars book, I'm like, man, there's a lot of Marvel stuff in there. And I'm like,
where's the DC stuff? Now, if you go to Comic-Con, they do have the DC and Lunar stuff up there as well. This one was easier to grab at the time. And Comic-Con's site, man, especially since the distribution has changed up, it's definitely different. And there was always that misunderstanding of, well, that's a print run. Well, it's the closest estimate, but we all know it's more than that because that's just the sales figures that they're reporting. But
a lot of retailers, they complain about how publishers aren't advertising outside of the comic book stores, kind of, like they really wish they pushed more. And I will say, I did notice Emilia Clarke did promote Mother of Madness on NBC and fucking all over the place. And to be honest, I was like, damn, that's actually what a lot of retailers wish publishers did, or got people to do that kind of thing. Like, did Keanu Reeves talk about Berserker on?
Yeah, he did a tour, and it's funny because you're talking about smaller press, and it's the bigger titles. It's when they do what you're saying is when they catch people's eyes too. Remember, like A-Force was introduced on like The View, right? I remember them doing that a couple years ago.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know. I just thought that's good that she did that, and we probably need to see more.
She's still got a lot of making up to do for Game of Thrones, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm pissed. I'm still pissed.
You can't rewatch the show anymore because you messed up the ending.
I will say I've gone back and rewatched like seasons 4 through the finale, and it still pisses you off, but it's still a great show minus that. And we got prequels coming, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah,
talking about Game of Thrones, of course, for those that are wondering.
But to add more perspective to that, Kanto at 140 beat out Oblivion Song, which we just talked about, by 3 spots.
Yeah, so it's always great to see Kanto, and I loved Killer Queens, by the way. That just David Boer came out from Dark Horse. It's doing really well. So always happy to support David Boer, Drew Zucker, and the success they get is well deserved.
Amen. Good stuff. The Moon Knight stuff is actually kind of really it's pretty surprising, to be honest. But I get it. It's a #1 and they're really pushing that. So I can see it. But I've had multiple people reach out to me lately that aren't into current comics that are like, hey, what Moon Knight stuff should I go grab? And I'm like, where is this coming from?
Yeah,
So,
well, that and you got the show coming, right, with Isaacs and
yeah.
there's been a lot of articles about him about uh, being an X-Men and being a Moon Knight and the differences
Oh yeah,
because
the
there's Apocalypse,
Apocalypse.
right?
Yeah. That when they ruined Apocalypse. And those X-Men movies were good to me. Like, I really liked them, but man, they ruined Apocalypse. What a foul job on that.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac's a fantastic actor. There's been a lot of Moon Knight fanboying all over. Actually, for a while, it's been building. I feel like everyone's like showing off Moon Knight, talking about Moon Knight. So I actually wasn't surprised at all that it was that high on the list.
Yeah, it definitely had hype going into it when that was announced, and then of course in previews, and of course final word cut off. You saw a lot of people talking about it. There's some store exclusives for it as well, and I think people are just excited because the true fanboys, that niche have been like wanting a Moon Knight TV show movie for years, and then I think some people are finding out more about the character and what the character's about, and kind of jumping on early just because they're starting to like it. So anything that introduces readers to books, I'm excited about.
It's also an actor's dream, like role, right? Because it's a multiple personality person where the personalities are so different, and they're a major part of the storyline.
Yeah.
So it'll be it'll be better than we all expect. Hopefully.
Any murders? Is that right? He's a Moon Knight kills. He's like Batman that kills or something. Is that no?
I wouldn't necessarily murders, but he's pretty hardcore. I would consider
Hardcore.
him a little bit more hardcore than Batman. I don't know. I hate that he constantly gets that Marvel's Batman thing because he's nowhere.
Poor man's Batman.
Yeah, he's nowhere near Batman. He's to me, he's a much better character than Batman. Like,
I
if
like
you
that he
think
could be
about
also
it.
the perfect
Yeah.
segue into Marvel's MonsterVerse.
Yes. Or that being said, with all these different shows and how they're starting to play it, could you see like team ups start happening in the shows? Like Tom Holland comes over from the Spider-Verse and jumps in a Moon Knight show, like that could be really interesting to start seeing that aspect of it.
Or don't forget about John Bernthal and Punisher. There's people started snapping up that Punisher annual, I think
Latina.
number 3 or number 4, that first battle between him and Moon Knight with that epic cover. That was a dollar bin book, maybe even a high quality $5 book for a very long time, just until like the last 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tom Holland, Dan.
Well, the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer leaked online before the premiere, the official premiere, maybe like 48 hours before. But it was watermarked, so people are probably getting in trouble. And yeah, and it was unfinished. It was really ugly. Does no justice to the trailer itself, which was released later, and the internet got to see it for the first time.
Yeah, the internet is definitely taking over. I think Facebook feed, it's like every third post right now is what character someone saw in the No Way Home trailer. I think they saw Mary Poppins at one point. I'm not sure. Maybe it was just Yondu. I don't know. But either way, yeah, there's a bunch of hype for it. I saw a bunch of people like it, and even like CBR and everyone was saying, hey, anticipating No Way Home trailer being this day. And that kind of didn't come, but then it kind of leaked on Twitter, and people were saying, I didn't want to check it out on Twitter. And then luckily didn't have to wait long. And I think it was, you said 48 hours. It might have even been a little bit less. And to be honest, the first one I actually saw it was PlayStation's feed on Facebook had it. And I was like, wow, here it is. And yeah, no doubt it opens up a lot of stuff. And of course, everyone's on the Mephisto train. Everyone's on, every character they're talking about. Is great to see Darkhawk. If you haven't watched the trailer, we're just spoiling it for you right now, but it's the trailer. So
I saw a really good meme today, and it showed the guy who plays Darkhawk, that last scene in the trailer, and then it shows Thanos, and it's like people before 2008, are like, who the hell is this guy? and it really related to that. I was like, what? That's a great point. Like, a lot of these people aren't going to remember these characters.
Yeah. when before you knew, a lot of people knew who Darkhawk was, but didn't know who Thanos was. Like, remember when Avengers came out and that end credit scene, people walking out like, "Who's that?"
Yep. I
But
also
yeah.
was blown away by the fact that people on social media went so crazy for it, and they're, like you said, they're still going crazy for it, and it really didn't show that much. It was kind of a letdown to me.
It's funny because one of the big news that came out of it also is that Sony has now renamed their Spider-Man verse, where before it was named something like Sony's movies with Marvel characters, where now they're calling it like Sony's Spider-Man movies. It wasn't thinking, sorry, I just snorted. It's not even good. I gotta find it. There's an article about it. I was like, really? Everyone just call it like Sony Spider-Verse, but yeah.
Well, Sony isn't half as bad as Disney yet, but they were on their ways with all the cancellations and slowdowns. And whatever happened to Morbius?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is Morbius is due for January, and we also just got news today that it looks like Venom is going to be pushed back to January for Morbius' spot, and then Morbius is going to be pushed back. And I also heard news, depending on how Shang-Chi does next weekend, Eternals might be pushed back as well, again and again. So it's the Sony's Pictures universe of Marvel character was what it was named. Right, and it's now named Sony's Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, that's much better.
Some great marketing going on there. Good job, Columbia Pictures.
It should be Sony Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting a little like the second film. Did you guys all watch that second film?
Yeah.
Feels like Peter Parker is like creating all the problems. and I don't know if like they can keep doing this because he's like starting to annoy the hell out. I'm like, wait a minute, are you the one that is causing all the problems? Like, what good are you?
Yeah, I'm waiting for. I'm more excited for Uncharted, the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. But so no doubt, I'm still super psyched about this, and this is one movie that I want to see in the theater for sure. And I'm anxious to see how Loki, you know, and how Scarlet Witch and everything from Disney Plus kind of ties into this, that we know is going to probably tie into the Doctor Strange, right? And it was great seeing what the hell is going on with Sanctum Sanctorum, right? It's snowing in there. Doctor Strange's got the cloak on, but he's like Thor from college T-shirt for his for Fox Sakes coffee mug going on, but.
I love how just happens to have a spell he's been working on, you know, and it rolls all into that MacGuffin type thing, right?
Yeah. And then there's people with the theory that that's not really Doctor Strange in the movie.
Oh yeah, I've heard that going around.
Mephisto type shit.
Yeah. So
there's a whole GIF floating around on social media of it's not Mephisto.
Well, what was that storyline? One More Day, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the devil is banned in China, right? So that's why they don't do Mephisto, because you're gonna lose the Chinese market. So
and Georgia too, because it lost the Fiddle War.
Oh God.
Yeah.
God. He went there. I don't
go to Georgia no more.
I'm excited because the last Spider-Man movie was the last big movie that we saw in theaters before theaters were closed, and I'm really looking forward to that next big wow 3D movie moment that I've been craving for quite a long while, and it just keeps. I don't know.
Because there's not as many people out there like you that want to go see these movies, I think. I mean, there's a lot, but there's not as many to make it profitable yet. I mean, we're obviously seeing that. So.
Yeah, I know, like my local theater, the latest movie they shows now is like the 7:00.
I'm hoping that the Shang-Chi release, like 45 days, right? That's like 45 steady number ones with word of mouth. Like old school.
Reviews.
Yeah, an old school style. Like, because films would just play, and that's the only way you could see them for a long time, and they could play for a year almost. Actually, back
People
in
are
the
saying
day.
like it's the best action sequence movie that they've seen from Marvel so far, and we saw. Might be mixing the trailer up. Shang-Chi. Oh, it's Eternals, right? Because we had the final Eternals trailer also, right?
Yeah, the Celestials.
Yep. So
Well, did you guys mention the? I mean, I know it's just the critics score, but like its Rotten Tomatoes score is like 90 something percent from
yeah,
the critics for Shang-Chi, which is very
Hi.
interesting to me.
It's interesting.
Well, it's interesting for the only reason I get it that usually that none of that shit matters.
well,
But everybody was talking about how bad the movie was.
yeah, they were
gonna
predicting
be.
like a $55 million opening weekend 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did Shang-Chi drop? When did that hit the
Next
movie theater?
weekend,
Oh, it's
September
next
3rd.
weekend.
It drops,
not this
yeah.
coming weekend, the weekend
Okay.
after, right? So it's Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
September 3rd.
I might see that multiple times.
It looks good to me.
Yeah, it's one I'd like to see in the theater.
See, they're not dropping it in 3D in my area, and I would totally go to that in 3D.
I haven't seen a 3D movie in years.
You should do the 4D,
Oh yeah, with like the
4DX,
scents and
with
stuff
smells and liquids shooting in your face.
Right.
Oh wait, that's a
That's-
different theater. I'm talking about.
That's the Pee Wee Herman Theater.
That's what you've been told this whole time, huh? 4Ds.
And I just realized it was 3X's. I thought it was 4DX's. I don't know. I got
You throw the Vin
confused.
Diesel movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a Vin Diesel film.
Oh,
I was like, there's a lot of muscles. There's a lot of people, a lot of dudes.
why
Yeah.
is the floor sticky?
They do have the 4D though, right? With like it kind of moves. And I had a buddy that went and saw. I think it was one of the Marvel movies, Guardians 2 maybe, and he drove like 2 hours for it, and he said it was awesome.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah. Is she cool?
Oh,
I
he's
would
really
go
cool.
see that. That's actually kind of cool. If it's like Star Tours style,
Yeah.
like seats.
So, and like I said, it was funny because when we created, you see it up there, Spider-Man trailer leaks, and just within that, when 24 hours of creating the graphics for the show, the news cycle changed and the trailers popped, and we're all talking about the trailer, and everyone, yeah, like I said, I think someone saw Winnie the Pooh in the movie trailer, everything. So,
Yeah, I heard people going, "This is Miles' relative right here," and I'm like, "Oh God, we're getting to this point."
2D.
yeah, the Blizzard's in there supposedly. Some people think they saw Matt Murdock, and some people are going, "Where is Matt Murdock?" So,
Well, did you hear about the? I mean, it happens every time, but I guess the wave of fakes on this round was just like really, really hardcore. Once the rumors started going out that it had been leaked or that they were dropping.
everyone was blaming Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Go Giants, Drew. I'm just kidding.
I feel bad for the actors. No, I don't feel bad. I shouldn't say that. They're making tons of money for it, but it would be so hard to keep your mouth shut on some of that stuff.
Well, that's
Like-
why they always blame Tom Holland.
Yeah, I don't blame them at all. It's
Well,
funny though.
if Sean Kirkham can do it for Skybound,
Yeah. Amen.
Would you say he came in clutch?
big clutch.
It's bad.
Mitch Joel had a comment where he talks about hope that people don't bail because of Mortal Kombat and Snake Eyes and all that stuff. I don't even know if that those movies are even in their heads anymore. Like, it feels like those are so far long ago. That
They
people
were
are-
if they listened to me last week because I did kind of compare them all together, but it was kind of the same thing with what Mitch was saying. Is people going to avoid it because of that? And I hope they don't. And I think that it's gotten enough press. Like I said last week though, I like the beginning trailers that they were showing better than what they've the trailers towards the end that they've been.
Yeah.
It showed more of the action, where the newer channels kind of shows that inner struggle between father son. But
And those weapons look super cool. I'll be honest. The way that they're showing how to use the weapons, and man, it looks cool.
Yeah. Which makes me want a Damian Wayne live action Ra's al Ghul.
Oh man, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon with how that game is playing out.
I know. But Drew Lewan, great to see him in here. Wanted Comics, him and Hyde. He's a big Dodgers fan, so we're going back and forth. And so are they. I mean, 2.5 games back. I ain't gonna lie, I'm worried about my Giants. They old, man.
No, they are, but they have a young talent. Speaking of the Giants and baseball and stuff, I've been going through all my cards because of everybody's selling on the Whatnot app, this and that, and I'm like, might as well be a good place to sell my cards. So I've been sorting all my Bowman that I went crazy buying over the last couple of years. And man, there's a kid for the Giants. You probably know he is Luciano.
Yeah.
Marco Luciano. Whew. Man, does he look good? Like just prototypical baseball player type skills. Tatis Jr. type guy.
Yeah, him and Elliot Ramos and of course Joey Bart. Ramos has kind of declined a little bit, but he looked good during spring. But yeah, Luciano's people have been on his cards. I bought a couple kind of cheap a few years ago, but
well. Speaking of cards, the Fanatics topic that dropped over the last couple of days has just gotten even crazier. I never expected it to get anywhere near as crazy as it is. When we heard that Topps was losing out on their dominant, run for 70 years, Topps has been the baseball card.
Right? Yeah, I mean, they made a huge thing of 70 years this year, right?
And now from what Topps is saying, out of nowhere, they had the license swooped up from underneath them. Supposedly, Topps was actually about to go public recently, and they had no idea this was going on between Fanatics and baseball players, the players union. But you don't know who to believe at this point. But it's so crazy that Topps decided not to go public. If I'm right, I haven't heard anything new on that, which is bonkers to me. What a bummer for Topps. And then the news comes out that Fanatic goes and buys the licenses for not just baseball but basketball and football.
Yeah, it's like bye-bye Panini.
It's bonkers. We've, as hobbyists and collectors in general, you kind of gravitate towards the person that's been doing it the best for the longest, and Panini has really made an inroad in the sports card market with their basketball
and football
licenses. They've killed it, and it's going to be really sad to see even Panini go. But to see Topps not do baseball cards anymore, not do rookie cards, baseball rookies or first Bowmans, is heartbreaking to me because I've really gotten back into it in the last 5-6 years, and it's because of the Topps baseball stuff that I got back into it. We're all kind of hoping. I mean, we think that Topps is this huge, highly successful company. They're nothing compared to Fanatics. Fanatics,
anything you buy on lids, MLB.com. I mean, they have the players association stuff.
You go to a team's website and it's run by Fanatics.
And I found that out the hard way, right? Because some reason, I guess I had 2 different email addresses, and then I tried to order some cool Giant swag, and every time I got an order, it would say okay, but it ended up canceling, and somehow I got mixed up. So I was like, you know what? Fine, I'm not going to buy it on Fanatics. I'm going to buy it on Lids. Went to lids.com, same thing. I'm going to go to San Francisco Giants.com, same thing. MLB.com, same thing. It's all Fanatics.
Yep, all basketball, all football. And they are making bank, big time money. So the crazy thing is, the talk is now, because we're so up in the air. This is so mind-boggling that this happened. Like, the card market has been hit with some major blows in the last couple of months.
What happens with those NFTs that Panini and blockchain and Topps? I mean,
that's other stuff. Instantly
Topps
lost
stuff, Garbage
value.
Pail Kids and soccer.
They still have that, but they're not going to be able to survive on that.
Yeah.
So because this is such a atom bomb, as you could say, in the collecting world for cards, that people are really hoping that with the amount of money that Fanatics has, they'll just buy out Topps and continue the Topps design. And I'll be honest, I think that they should make a deal with Topps and Panini just to say, hey, continue doing what you're doing. We'll pay for this, and then you got to give us, figure out something to have them keep working. Now, they're not going to lose their licenses till 2026, so we're still going to see a couple more sets, not a couple more, a lot more sets will be coming out. But until we hear anything different, we could have a whole new card market set, with, whatever Fanatics decides to put out. And I don't know. If it was me, I would be scared. I am scared.
Do you think Topps might do like Panini does or Donruss, right? Optic baseball cards where they have the player, but they just don't have the logos because they don't have the license?
Well, they lost not only the right to do their logos, they also lost the
Players,
right to
right?
use players' likenesses. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a big deal. Panini at least has the college football game. Like, they were smart and locked down the college
name, image, likeness stuff.
Yeah. So at least Panini continue that, but they're going to take some major hits. Soccer, is the biggest sport in the world. So, and the soccer cards, the football cards.
And it's funny because a lot of Western, or especially the States, they don't pay attention to soccer as much, and
they are now
crazy
with cards.
And the cards are starting to make people aware of it, and yeah, it's crazy. Like cards that I was eyeing, I was like, I'm gonna wait till they go down a little bit. And of course, the card craze since like February, right? The whole card craze in general just kind of took off. Kind of waiting for it to settle down again, but there's some cards. Luckily, I did pick up a Pulisic rookie, but there's some other champions and Liga and stuff that I've been eyeing, hoping to get at an auction.
Well, the Fati kid out of where is he? Barcelona that he's playing for. People are going crazy over him. He just came back. He got injured and he's now back on the field, or the pitch as they call it. And his cards are going crazy.
Yeah,
so
I'm getting my Ted Lasso cards. By the way, if you not watch Ted Lasso on Apple, dude, it's like one of the best shows ever. You don't even have to be a soccer fan to enjoy it, or a football fan, I guess.
I'm pretty worried. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's bonkers. I never, if you would have told me that there's a percentage of this happening, I'd be like, it's like 99.99% that you'll never see this happen. And it happened within a week. Yeah,
it was nuts. And to me, it caught me off guard. Like a friend texted me the link and I was like, holy shit. Right. And then it just kind of snowballed from there on the social. But I don't know, Dan or Andy, if you guys collect cards at all or have collected cards in the past. I mean, even if you don't, it'd be good to get what your opinion is, as it's a big collector hobby.
Well, I know Fanatic it had a lot of venture capitalist investment by also like Jay-Z and Rock Nation and stuff, and they did the CGC thing. I mean, not him, but anyway,
Blackstone or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's like a big thing about grabbing alternative assets and creating some sort of monopolies within the alternative asset class, ways to control the market. And then Fanatics, I think, will probably sell cards online. They'll just own it all and then create online, shoppers looking for the special exclusive whatever, and they'll sell more than they've ever sold ever. It's all about just making more money, and yeah.
Yep, I agree 100%. That is probably the most likely scenario. Is Fanatics went look at the issue that they're having printing cards right now, and the want is like crazy times the amount out there. All we need to do is just fire up some printing presses, and
and Fanatics has been huge at memorabilia.
Yeah,
I mean, outside of just the hats and jerseys and all that stuff, and the lawn chairs and anything home office, but I bought years ago. I bought a Florida State fan. I bought an autographed helmet signed by the three Heisman: Jameis, Winky, and Ward. Brain fart.
They'll just start selling pre-graded CGC pre-graded cards and jerseys and shit, like all at one company, kind of just making all that money, and everyone just buying that, just manufactured Collectibles.
The Disney. I want
The
to say
guy who-
Disney Sports, but Disney owns ESPN.
Doesn't the guy who owns Fanatics also own like the 76ers and the Eagles or something like that? He has large stakes in the teams, which is, a whole nother level of wealth.
Mr.
Wow.
Fanatic.
Yeah.
That's a cool last name.
A Philly fanatic, literally.
What about
So-
you, Andy?
I don't really have a dog in this race, so to speak. I haven't bought cards since I owned a BMX bike back in the day, riding to the local shop and buying packs of this and packs of that. And I mean, my last
Genesis for everyone.
it was
You just haven't gotten back on yet, is what you're saying.
collecting Jerry Rice cards and Barry Sanders and Joe Montana, and that was
Jose
my-
Canseco and Mark
my
McGuire.
heyday. That was the heyday back then that I still kind of hold on to. And the last time I went and got back into cards was Magic the Gathering, and I bought a couple of sealed boxes and did some, and it just doesn't have the same ring to it that it used to. So it just leads me to believe that I'm just not going to be a card collector going forward anymore. And the more you guys talk about it, the more I'm interested. And what'll happen is I'll go find a box for a couple $100 or whatever the going rate is on something that's hot, that's new, that's interesting. And I'll sit down with it. I'll crack it open and be like, yep, the magic just isn't there. That's probably what it's going to be for me, unfortunately.
Or there's a slim 1 in 5 chance that you're gonna pull something amazing and get hooked like the rest of us.
God, yeah, that's
Yeah,
still
a
kind of
card
the
that you
gamble
didn't
of
even
it.
realize you had, like I did when I first got back into it and pulled that Saquon Barkley auto. And no one's like, dude, look at that card.
Turn that card over, dude.
I thought the back was the front. That's how long it had been.
When the
Yeah.
card craze picked up, I use the old adage that you guys have, a lot of people have always said, skate where the puck is going to be, not where it's at. So when the card game started picking up again and things started getting heated, I went and bought what I love, and I love what I bought, is I got sealed boxes of that Guts and Gunpowder Punisher run from 1992, that Marvel card. I
ones-
think it's
the
92 or
smeller?
91.
Where they have the smell cards that smell.
Yeah. I bought a couple of sealed boxes of those, thinking, well, it might be fun to do some unboxings of those, or just some what do they call it, cracks, pack cracks, or. But then I realized when I start looking at that set, there's no rares, there's nothing really. There's like a couple of hollow foil cards and like that's it, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to open those now.
I love buying stuff like that. I mean, of course, shoot, a couple months ago, even that type stuff was going nuts. Like Lion King cards that were like $30 for 4 boxes. They were selling them for like $100 a box or some crazy.
And they couldn't keep them in stock.
Yeah, and Double O in the chat had a good comment. Kind of like what you're talking about with like almost that monopoly. Talking about places going out of business, and you're only gonna have one place to buy from. It's usually not a good option for consumers.
This is true.
Yeah.
Not good.
Speaking of BMX bikes, do you know Dean Winters? The guy that plays Mayhem for the Allstate commercials, and
Yeah,
he's in 30 Rock. He's the Tina Fey's ex, the Irish dude,
Yeah.
He's in Oz. Anyway, yeah, a couple years ago I saw him riding down the street on a BMX bike. Just landed on the ground, go into a dumpling shop near Chinatown, get dumplings, eat them, and just ride off on the BMX bike. And I was like, wow, that's
What a life.
the realest shit I ever. Yeah, he's a real New Yorker. He's a true New Yorker. That was a couple years ago. And he's like 50, He's just still like wearing a tank top with the BMX bike, getting dumplings, $1.50 for 4. Yeah.
The life that that will never be again.
He's doing it. He's doing it now, like as we
Oh
speak.
wow.
Yeah, no, like a couple years ago. It was just like that's how. Anyway, BMX bikes always make.
well, he's
me
got
feel
good insurance, I'm sure.
good. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know it's Comic News Weekly, but I mean that topic was just collectibles in general. We talk about everything on the channel, especially collectors, pop culture, and I know Brian's a big card collector as well, so it's great to bring that up. But getting back over to comics, tomorrow we mentioned at the beginning of the show, tomorrow's New Comic Book Day, right?
Yep.
So what is everyone picking up tomorrow? What's your pick? Reader, spec, art, whatever it's going to be. Alberto,
Go.
what book do you get? Okay, McClay, what do you get?
Clay.
All right. I've got a couple picks this week. Of course, I'm always the guy that loves picking books based on art and covers. I'm a collector at heart, and this first one, I'll share the screen here. It's a funny little
Exorcist. I love
yeah.
homage covers.
Synchronicity. Last night's Tales from the Flip Side episode during the market report, I shared a sale of an Exorcist toy that recently sold for a grip of money, and I talked about my love-hate of this movie. To me, nothing will ever be scarier than this movie. If you grew up at this time, back then, this movie is still scary to a lot of people. Again, but I don't tell them, I'm not trying to like joke on it. I've seen it recently and it's laughable. But if I go back to that time period as a kid thinking about this movie, I just get super freaked out. So to this day, Exorcist stuff scares me. So people were telling me about all the cool homages, the Justice League, I think it was Justice League cover where they did an homage to this. So of course the Knights at the Dinner Table crew is doing a homage this week that's coming out. So Knights at the Dinner Table 287. If you guys are into homage covers, you probably have to order this one. But speaking of that, I thought this was really funny homage cover here to play some fun and games with your favorite comic artist or comic creator. Of course, we see Brian's genius shirt today. And we have a great Crisis on Infinite Quarantine #1. Enter the deadly cough. So
I was gonna say I couldn't tell if that was that's a cross between like a DC swipe and then a Transformer swipe almost with the coronavirus.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, could you imagine? Like, this is like the ultimate like joke play to go up to a creator at like some con and go, "Hey, I'd love for you to sign this cover." Why did they put this? Is crazy to put out. Anyways, it says on the front cover, I love this, the exciting true origin of the novel coronavirus.
Yeah, there's a corona variant for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's published by Aardvark, right? Like Dave Sims' company and Cerebus and all that.
Yep. And they always do fantastic covers.
Yes.
Is this the Delta variant?
I'm sure they have. If they're not playing that role, I mean, let's see. Do they have? Doesn't look like they have any variants that I can see. But if they were smart, they would. But the book that for some reason now I'm collecting because I just kind of fell in love with the art and even you kind of have to get into the story or be into the animation that came out. I think you guys said this was French when it came out, but MFKZ is the book that I'm picking up this week kind of to read because I've got into it. I fell in love with these characters and I think it's very interesting and we'll see what happens with it. So those are my 3 books.
Nice.
Andy, you ready or you want Dan to go?
Dan can go. I feel like sometimes I end up picking other people's picks.
All right.
That's all right.
Yeah. The book I'm looking forward to the most is Darling, issue 3. Ooh. So I got a lot of that Darling. I got the preview of Darling, and I got issue 1 signed. And issue anyway, it takes place in the 80s. It's about New York.
Who publishes that?
Source Point Press. The art style is really fun. It reminds me of Little Nemo and Slumberland, like that art style, and it's really gritty. It's about a junkie in New York, and I love that stuff. And it's turning surreal. It's actually becoming a little Sandman-esque, and the series wasn't really pitched that way at first, and now it's getting more that way or whatever. So I want to see if it's continues and it's like good, and I actually like Cinnamon a lot. Cinnamon issue 1, so Cinnamon issue 2, I'm all for it. It's very indie, alternative kind of comic, cutesy, but it's different, and I'm down, and I can always share that. And Cherry Blackbird issue 2, I want to see if they could top the opening of issue 1. Not really. I don't want them to top the opening of issue 1. If you guys read issue 1 or not of Cherry Blackbird, it was quite explicit. Anyway, I want to see if like issue 2 is good. It reminds me of Metalocalypse. It's very Metalocalypse like. Yeah, so those are the picks, kind of.
Dude, that's very cool. Source Point Press is based here in Michigan, over in Saginaw. I actually just saw them at the Grand Rapids Comic Convention. It'll be 2 weeks ago this Friday.
Yeah, they put out some great titles too.
Yeah, this is a great title. I'm liking it so far. Surprised where it's going because it wasn't really pitched that way by the creator or the solicitations, and it's a pleasant surprise for me.
What about you, Andy?
Right. It's probably pretty obvious for anybody that knows me, but I am extremely, extremely excited for Something is Killing the Children tomorrow.
No
Like,
way.
We're issue 18.
Every cover?
There's only 2 actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they're playing the cover game better than what anybody has recently in the indie scene with Boom Studios. I think they've kind of dialed it back just enough. It's just a cover A and a 1 in 25. So that ratio variance hitting, but there's not cover B, cover C, cover D, all this other stuff. And I'm really looking forward to where the story left off in last issue. I'm really thinking 19 is going to be a big issue, and it's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be the book that I'm reading in my truck out in the parking lot of the LCS before I even get home. In fact, I'll probably buy it digitally first thing tomorrow morning if I can. I don't remember how early the digital releases hit Comixology, but that's how much I'm anticipating or looking forward to this story. Is I'll drop that $3.99 cover price for a story that I'm really into this hardcore digitally, because I've got a whole entire workday ahead of me before I'm going to get that book in my hand tomorrow. So if I get a 15-minute break where I can drop $3.99 on Comixology if it's available, I think Comixology does their releases earlier in the morning.
Sure.
I think so.
Wow. You're going to do both. You're going to buy digital and print.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's for me. In that 90s nostalgia, I used to buy 2 copies. I would read one and stash one anyways. Well, if a comic book is this good that I'm into, that I can't miss that story, and I want to talk about it on social media with people that are already reading it that don't work first shift on a Wednesday, I'll spend that $3. I mean, I don't do it super often. I only let myself do it on a couple of titles a year total because the money adds up fast.
It's in the chat. You got Milky Way telling you in the chat. 1 a.m. Stay up for it.
No, I can't stay up that late. That can't. That gives me like 3
You're
hours.
just not a true fan then.
All right.
All right. I'm going to go with 2 books, not just one, and they're both reader picks. One actually came out today because I'm a DC guy, but I pick my books up on Wednesday. You know, New Comic Book Day on Tuesday. That's like having Thanksgiving dinner on Wednesday to me. So I always pick up on Wednesday, and I'm going with that Tom Taylor goodness still, man. Superman, Son of Kal-El, #2. Love that first issue. Love Tom Taylor right now. I'm excited for that new miniseries he's got coming out. But enjoy the first issue, and I'm enjoying Superman again, except it's John Kent. I like John Kent better anyways. And then the other one, Dan, you talked about Source Point Press. Ryland Grant, great writer. He's written a bunch of other indie titles. He was on the show. Suicide Jockeys #1 comes out for Source Point Press tomorrow as well. Small little indie book, so if you can't get it, I'm sure you can get it on Source Point's site. But if you're a fan of like Power Rangers and you're a fan of 80s movies, I mean, it has a Roadhouse movie homage variant for it. So it's like a Dalton cover there for you. But read the first issue digitally. Had an advanced copy for that interview with Ryland Grant. So look forward to picking that up. But Superman, Son of Kal-El, highly recommend that as a good read, unless you don't like DC.
Did you guys, Cantankerous L brought it up. I'll share my screen. Did you guys see the Darkhawk #1 covers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Darkhawk fan, but
it's a new Darkhawk though.
Oh, look how good this looks.
Yeah.
I mean, this design and the covers like remind me of like Marvel from a couple years ago. The variants are absolutely gorgeous on this. I mean, look at some of these.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, I don't see how people can't like these.
Oh wow!
Look at
Ooh,
that.
Ghost Rider.
These are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I hate to fanboy out over variants and stuff, but I think every one of these so far are really good. Even the design variants. The whole new design of the character is.
Well, it's
I don't like
two
some
Shredder.
design variants I like, some I don't.
Yeah.
Some remind me of like the McCone head shot variants.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
I love this one. It's got the old school.
Yeah.
Late night or mid '90s Marvel indicia. But anyways, I just thought that this was a really cool thing that they're bringing back a character that I know a lot
And
of
Kyle
people.
Higgins is writing it.
Yes. This is the Diodato 1 in 50. Just beautiful stuff on every one of these books, in my opinion. But this cover right here is absolutely gorgeous, and so is this one, which I think is the 1 in 25. Look how beautiful that is. I just good stuff. Marvel continuing to kill it.
I really, really enjoy what they're doing to work trade dress into the overall art of a cover. You know what I mean? Like the Darkhawk logo, the name right in there, and then just the minimalist Marvel 1 variant at the top. That looks really good.
Yeah, they just need to start putting barcodes on the back. I know it's a pain in the ass for comic shops with the bags.
They
and
were for a
boards.
while, weren't they? Or no?
I think for some reason, I felt like they were. Maybe it's just us
I
remembering.
know, like Image and stuff does, but
Yeah,
I don't think
Marvel
comic
is
shop.
too, but
I don't think comic shops would care. Like every time I go, half my books they've got to do that with the indies on the back. Like Boom Studios are all on the back, and I don't know why they do that, but
yeah. I'm loving the redesign of the character, and let's see if they can actually hold. Have
if anyone can write it
decent
well,
run.
Kyle Higgins is the perfect person for it.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been reading Radiant Black, Ultraman, the old Power Rangers before Ryan Parrott took over. Yeah, I mean, he's written Nightwing.
Yeah,
Kyle
his
Higgins
Nightwing
definitely-
stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
very cool. And for a quick mop up before we move on, this is a killer indie week. I mean, Department of Truth is out. What else did I see out there? Die is out for issue 19. Once in Future is out as well. Turtles are out and there's a lot of great Star Wars action. This is going to be a great reading week, man.
Yeah, Blue Flame, Barbaric.
Yep.
Well, why does Ant keep getting pushed back, by the way?
I don't know.
Well, the whole storyline behind Mario Gully and Ant, right? Do you know like the backstory?
Mm-mm.
So if you get a chance, there's a comic content creator on YouTube. I think he goes by Uncle Jerk or something like that. He did a really good like documentary style video on Mario Gully and the Jeff Larson dust up. So basically what happened is Mario Gully was the creator of Ant, and like he was the independent comic darling for a short period of time. Image really wanted to do stuff with the character, and Mario Gully was just one of those creators that would just constantly put himself in a bad position. He was like a sabotage expert, and so at one point Jeff Larson just bought it from Eric Larson, not Jeff Larson. Eric Larson just bought it from Mario Gully outright. And then he told Mario Gully, hey, I'd love to have you do some art. And they just had a real big dust up over the character, and it turned really ugly. So Eric Larson just kind of shelved it for the longest time. Well, he recently, and the whole story needed to be tied up in a bow at the end because it had been left in limbo for so many years. So he put out an issue, that issue 12 that came out a couple months ago, to kind of tie everything up in a bow. And I haven't heard anything new on if he's going to continue that character to do a run on it. But even in the back of that issue 12 that he put out, he has a big like 2-page write-up on what happened with the history and him and Mario and how everything went down. But if you ever look at it, Mario Gully is a fascinating person to look into in the comic creator world. Came up with the character while he was in prison. Was a young superstar artist out of, I think it was Kentucky where he was from, something like that. Just really crazy story. It's actually kind of sad in the end, but to have a character that is being continued and it has a future is one thing to say. So a positive.
Yeah, Spec Collector was putting in the chat about Barbaric. Barbaric's been great, and then they were just talking, I think it was Mike Morrissey who writes Barbaric, right? And he was talking about how they're gonna be doing like a Barbaric verse, because that's what everyone's doing, but it's supposed to have spin-offs and a couple other series coming out of that Barbaric issue or series.
They did a killer cover homage of God Country for issue 1.
These 616 Comics did.
Yep.
And it went into Patreon boxes.
What?
Oh yeah,
I had
got
some.
one.
They went out in Patreon boxes.
Ooh.
Speaking of exclusives, I don't know if Drew's still in the chat, but Wanted Comics, right? McClay, Drew takes care of a lot of people with those exclusives as well, and
He
wantedcomics.com, right? But it's comics with an X.
Yes. Some of the best exclusive covers over the last year have been coming out of Wanted Comics stable. Of course, they had that amazing John Gallagher Ha Ha variant, which just was the cover of the year winner for me.
Dave Wilkins.
Yeah, the Dave Wilkins He-Man variant. So you guys, Wilkins He-Man fans, can complete your set of the Wilkins variants for that Revelation series. He has the new Eat the Rich cover that a lot of people are talking about that book right now, and the story seems pretty interesting, and it could be something that continues. He's got a really cool Eat the Rich cover. And he's just a cool dude. He's one of those retailers that I have a ton of respect for, and I appreciate everything he does for the community. Good dude.
Yeah, really good guy. Andy, that leaves us with what? One more thing. One more thing. We're going to go around here. Each one of the panelists get to talk about one last thing before we let you guys go for the night. I want to thank everyone that's been in the chat. Love the conversation that's going in there. Love the people coming in week after week. That's always great to see. Love seeing some new people into the chat as well. But one more thing. Andy, what do you got going on?
Oh, dude, do we ever have something going on? One more thing. We dropped our first blind CGC unboxing in over a year on the Comic Man Andy channel, and that was, I still get goosebumps. We figured out how we want to do it from here on out with the wife down here because she has a vested interest and is super, super excited to do those. So check it out on the channel. There's the long format on the Monday mail call for an hour for all of the shenanigans. We also chopped a small format of like 10 or 12 or 13 minutes for people that just want to see the CGC unboxing. And that was, I am reinvigorated with graded comic book unboxing. Whether you're CBCS or CGC, I can't wait. In fact, I'm about to drop another hint on IG here soon. We've got another box coming back from CGC, and it is a record-breaking grading time. I've not done anything crazy. I've not bribed anybody. I'm not doing the trick where you put an express book in the lot with anything else. Like, I kid you not. People are going to murder me when they see how fast CGC turned these books, and it's nuts. But that also means I'm really worried to see what the grades are, because the ever so epic Saga #1 Comic-Con India variant is there in that box, coming back right now, getting shipped, and that will complete the Saga #1 collection. So that's going to be happening here soon on Mail Call Monday live. I don't know if it's going to be I don't know if it's going to make it by next Monday or what, but it's going to be coming up soon, and I'm stoked.
That's at Comic Man Andy's YouTube channel. Also, link in the description of this video if you guys can't find it, but definitely check him out Monday night. He does stuff all the time on his channel as well, so make sure you guys check out his content. Speaking of content, Tales from the Flip Side is never shy of content. I think that they're like freaking worse than QVC. They got My Pillow. They got everything going on. I think there's about 15 shows a day.
Speaking of that, we just had, for anybody fans of the Modern Playbook crew over there that are just doing really good stuff. They do Dealer Flipside. I think Comic Man Andy, hopefully, had a good time last week. It was nice to have you come on that show, and those guys are changing things up. They used to drop the Spec 10 every Tuesday morning, but now they're going to do it live. We're going to do it live. So every Thursday night, live Spec 10, Tales from the Flip Side. We were doing lots of cool stuff, having fun with the Key Collector app, and them helping us out, putting that list out every Tuesday. But now we're changing things up, so you will see a live Spec 10 on Thursdays. And we appreciate everything Key Collector has helped us with in the past. So shout out to them. Thank you for them.
Damn, what's going on at Ding Comics, or just in your world?
Oh, well, I'm trying to start a sad Spawn meme where I took the
I saw it.
image.
It was
Yeah,
awesome.
I've already seen 4 of them today on my feed.
yeah, like Todd McFarlane's Spawn. He looks very sad, and you put him in all kinds of different situations. It's pretty fun.
Where can people find those?
On my IG at Dane Comics channel. And also,
check those
yeah,
out. They're worth
and
it.
I'm like getting into Photoshop for the first time, like so.
I like the one by the fountain, sitting on the fountain.
Yeah,
The
yeah, I'm gonna
lady-
do a bunch. Like, I have him one at a party. He's like sitting down at a party, and people are standing up. He's just like kind of depressed.
I saw that.
Also, on Mondays, I started a new show called Mr. Mary Poppins,
I saw the
Yeah.
cover, the thumbnail for that too.
and I just
Is he
Teach-
cool?
yeah, I teach principles of reality shifting and like other stuff that I actually like life coach other people or whatever. So I just go over like certain principles and stuff to like bring out the inner child in us and use the comic community and how it's like connected by stories to kind of do that and make the world more fun. That's what Mr. Mary Poppins is all about.
Mel V getting a lot of love in the chat. If they do that live, is Mel V on that?
Mel V shows up every once in a while. So,
I would say if they do that live, that they need to do a drinking game for like, yeah, I drink every time. Mel V be like, I'll be right back. I got pee. Just fucks out in the
he
middle of
needs
it.
some ice for his drink.
Yeah. Or he's got to order a refill. I'm calling up.
Yeah, he's got to order lobster at 4:00 in the morning.
So,
Yeah.
my one more thing. Speaking of YouTube channels, speaking of independent comics, one of my favorite independent comic publishers right now is Black Box Comics. Little known publisher, but they put out some great titles like Militia, Psycho List. They just put out Gen Hunter. I talked about it on this video series. But Black Box Comics, they just started a YouTube channel as well. So if you guys want to check them out, they do a lot of great writers that you see from other independent publishers like Mad Cave, Vault. They run in small circles, so a lot of those are going over there writing creator-owned stuff for them as well. So small imprint, Black Box Comics. Black Box is one word if you search for them, but they just created a YouTube channel. They're putting some content up there. Love supporting small indie publishers. I'm an indie guy at heart, but yeah, definitely check them out. And that's my one more thing. But with that being said, I want to appreciate everyone in the chat once again. Drew, I hope the Padres whoop the shit out of the Dodgers tonight and every night. I only say that because I will be fully honest. I am scared that going down this last stretch that the Dodgers will take that division. But either way, thanks again for watching, guys. If you're watching on the replay, make sure you click that like button for us. Subscribe if you're new here each and every week, Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Thank you so much. With that being said, this is Brown with Simmen's Comics. See you guys in the next video.
She pull up, hop out, then she swerve. Do your two-step, your little catwalk, make it work. Make it work, Jill, make it work. Strike a pose, make it work, Jill, make it work. Strike